Hey, what's up you guys, it's Connor, and today I'm going to be continuing my 2016 wrap-up with books 61 through 65. My reading has definitely slowed down a lot, so these wrap-ups are going to be coming less frequent as I just kind of sink into a normal speed of reading. I've been reading very quickly for the first part of this year, but I am starting to get involved in other things, and so it'll slow down just a little bit, but obviously I will still be making these wrap-ups. So the 61st thing that I read in 2016 is going to be The Broken Clock by P.T. Hylton. If you guys don't know, P.T. is a booktuber, so I'll leave a link down in the description to his channel. You can check him out. But this is the third and final book in the trilogy, and I really did enjoy it. I ended up giving it 4 stars. In the first book of the series, Frank is in prison, and he is let out of prison under very strict conditions, and he has to follow these conditions to a T, or else he'll go back to prison. And he's basically tasked with finding his brother who's been missing for quite some time. When he gets back into town, he finds out that all of these really weird things are going on. There are a lot of rules called regulations, and he just has to figure out what is going on. It's kind of a mystery thriller-ish book. It's a very hard genre to pin down. It has a lot of different elements in it, and it's definitely one of the most unique books that I've read. Hello?
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Checking in. I'm heading to my lunch meeting, so
Alrighty, bye. Forgot what I was saying. What was I saying about this nook? What was I saying, puppy? I don't want to go into too many details because I feel like I'm going to spoil it, because the book brings up lots and lots of questions and then answers them throughout the story. So I really liked those aspects of the book. The questions that I had always ended up being answered, and in this book a lot of the questions that I didn't even know that I had were answered, so it was very fun. And if you buy the book directly from PT's website, he will put different little notes and annotations in the book, which I thought were really fun. Like this one talks about an Easter egg that he included in the chapter, and you can kind of search for the Easter egg. I never found it because I don't really know anything about Jurassic Park. I haven't read that book yet, but maybe when I read that book I'll come back and find the Easter egg. Yes, very much excited. Recommend this one. The next book that I read is going to be The Mysteries of Cofires of Invention by J. Scott Savage. This is the same author who writes the Far World series, which I really enjoyed. I was actually approved on NetGalley to have this book, but I never downloaded it before it got archived. Hey puppy, you want to say hi? Come here, pup. Whoa. Puppy. Say hi, pup. Will you give me a kiss? Nope. Give me a kiss, puppy. Why do you hate me? Good boy. Do you need something? Do you want a treat? You give me a high five? Okay. 1 second. This book follows a boy named Trenton, and he is totally obsessed with machines, and he's a very good mechanic, and he loves figuring out how things work and kind of tweaking things. But he lives in a society where invention and creativity are bad things and are very much looked down upon because of events that have happened in the past where people have been hurt because of people being too creative or inventing things and then failing. The society in this book was very reminiscent of The Giver to me, the way that the society works and how a group of council people decide everything about each member, who they're gonna marry pretty much, what job they're gonna have, how many kids they can have. It's all decided by a group of people, and so that was very similar to The Giver to me, and I love The Giver, so I was all about that. I definitely like the setup of this world and how it's under a mountain, and there's different levels, and different levels are different types of jobs. So there's like a farming agricultural level, and then there's like a mining level and everything like that. So all of those aspects were very interesting to me, and I really liked them. The problems that I had this book kind of came from some of the characterizations and stuff like that. So sometimes the characters' relationships would happen a little bit more quickly than I thought was realistic. Sometimes I thought friendships happened just out of the blue, and there's a trope in this book that I absolutely hate, is when a grown-up that a child is supposed to trust ends up being evil and really has like a malicious intent towards the main character. So I don't really like that trope, so and that was in here. So I ended up giving this book 3.5 or 3 stars. I think it was 3 stars. The next thing I read is volume 1 of Chew by Layman, and this is called Taster's Choice. Kristen from What's Happening gave me this for my birthday, and so I was really excited, and I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It is so gross, but so interesting. It is so cool. It's about a guy named Tony Chu, and he is a psychopath, and so basically he can see the history of whatever he eats, and so if he eats human flesh. He can see the last moments of that human or see what they've been doing in their past. He's used by the FDA to kind of investigate different things that are happening. And also in this world, chicken is illegal because of the avian bird flu or whatever it was. This is kind of what the artwork looks like. So if you're curious about that, that's what that looks like. I'm definitely going to be continuing whenever I get the next volumes, but definitely A+. I definitely recommend this one. The next book that I read was for a book club that my father and I joined together, and it's an Irish book club. It meets at a pub, which is just hilarious. So we drink as we're talking about the book. But when we went, it was so weird because we didn't actually talk about the book almost at all. My dad and I were like the only two. There's 4 people that actually read the book out of 12 or something like that. So we were definitely in the minority. It was so weird that we had a book club meeting about a book that no one actually read. And people just spent the whole time talking about how Irish they were. And it's like, why do you have to qualify it? Just say you're Irish, let's move on and let's talk about this book. But people just wanted to go through their whole family histories about being Irish, and I just could not care less. But I'll definitely be going back. I'm hoping that it kind of becomes more about the books than how Irish we are as time goes along, because you know, that conversation can get boring. But anyway, the book that we were supposed to read is 1916 by Morgan Llwelyn, and this is about a boy named Ned, and he is on the Titanic when it goes down, and then he survives, obviously, because the whole book is about him, and then he ends up going back to Ireland, and he gets mixed up in the uprising of 1916. I don't actually know very much about Irish history at all. Like, I'm very ignorant about Irish history. I don't know how I didn't learn anything about it. But it was really cool to see these events happen, and it is very historically accurate. She has a huge bibliography in the book of all the sources that she used, and it has a huge list of the historical characters as well as the fictional characters, so you can see which ones were real and which ones weren't, and which ones actually did the things that this book is talking about. It was just really interesting to me, and I ended up giving this book 4 stars. It is definitely adult. There are some sexy time scenes, and there's a rape scene in here, so be aware of that if you're going to go into this book. But I really enjoyed it. I think it portrays those historical characters in a very real way, and you can definitely see their motivations and see what was the driving force behind all of these men kind of coming together and organizing this uprising. You definitely got to see kind of a renewal in the Irish culture, because I guess for a while their culture was kind of being stamped out, and you can see a resurgence in that in an effort to make sure that the young people of Ireland learned Irish and kind of had those stories that every Irish person should have. Definitely interesting. 4 out of 5 stars. I'm thinking I will be continuing with this series. She has 4 books that have to do with like this kind of historical fiction era. This book, then there's 1921, which was a bigger uprising, I'm pretty sure. Irish history is not my strong point, but I think that the main character of this book is in the next book, and then I think it also has 1940 something and 1972. So I'll definitely be reading those, hopefully, because I did enjoy this book. And the last book that I read is going to be The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the first book in the Raven cycle, and everyone loves this book. I put a poll on Twitter to see which book I should read next, and I put a bunch of very popular YA books, and this one won by a landslide. It was very one-sided in what book I should read next. So I ended up picking it up, and I read it with a bunch of booktubers. There was a huge chat group where we were all talking about it, and it was really funny because a lot of these people were rereading this book, and so they already knew everything that happened, and myself and Rachel were just kind of floundering around trying to figure out what was going on, and they were laughing at us. So yeah, definitely enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I had a couple of problems with it. I think that the writing style at the very beginning of the book is so dense. It's very flowery, so much so that it kind of seems like it's trying too hard to be flowery, and so it kind of made the first half of the book very slow. So it took a little while for me to get into it. I think it was about 150 pages, and then I was in it to win it. So I think there was a couple other things that I wasn't too fond of, but the psychic element in this book is so interesting. If you guys don't know what this book is about, I don't really know what you've been doing, but I'll definitely be continuing with this series. I just don't know when I'll be continuing. I know the 4th book comes out this month or next month. We'll definitely not be caught up with the series by then, but hopefully I will be reading it within this year. That would be ideal. So those are the next 5 things that I read in 2016. Let me know down in the comments what you've been reading. If I should continue with the Raven cycle ASAP, let me know that as well. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.